This is Smithy.tv.
Durilia. Durilia. Walter Durilia
I like it.
from Big B Comics. You got 3 locations, one in Barrie, one in Hamilton, one in Niagara Falls. We're here at Niagara Falls Comic Con. Walter gave me my Amazing Fantasy 15 comic book, first appearance of Spider-Man. I only had to trade you like, what, a fortune worth of comic books together?
That's right, and all your worldly possessions.
All my worldly possessions. But Walter and I
That was a good deal for me,
It
Pat.
was a good deal for you. I'm glad, and it was a great deal for me. I got my holy grail of comic books, and I thank you for that. And we've stayed friends since. I tried to sell Walter a Hulk 1, but he didn't want it, so I had to sell it online.
It was too cheap. I felt guilty.
Yeah, you're a good man like that. Walter is actually a champion of Canadian comics. He's what would you say? You bring awareness to the Canadian whites that were made in Canada back in the World War II era, the 1940s?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to be part of a great group of Canadians that we're all championing that era. It's a forgotten era. Not many people know that we had our own comic book industry in the 1940s, basically because American comics were banned from coming into the country because of the war.
Right.
Right.
I thought it was because they couldn't waste materials.
Right. Well, the War Measures Act meant that all non-essential imports were banned from coming in, and comics, for some reason, were deemed non-essential. I disagreed, but so overnight, a Canadian comic industry, a publishing industry, sprouted. Yeah.
Was it based solely out of Toronto, or were there other locations?
Educational was out of Montreal, Maple Leaf was out of Vancouver, and Bell, the most famous one, and Anglo-American were out of Toronto.
Now, is it just because we were Canadian-made comics that made this so interesting, or was it because the artwork was ahead of its time? Because I'm looking at some of the dynamic.
Yeah.
This is my actual copy of a Canadian White. Not for long. Walter really wants it. It's Dime Comics, and I was lucky enough to sort of save this issue from a gentleman that had posted it online, and he was selling it, and I knew right away that it was a Canadian White. And I called Walter and said, "Hey, dude, I found one, and it's a survivor. Let's get this out there."
Great colors on that.
And that was just it. The colors were popping. And the other interesting thing that people don't know about these Canadian Whites, the reason why they're called Canadian Whites is
black and white on the inside, because we didn't know how to print in color. Believe it or not, we did not know how to print in color in 1941, 42.
Insane.
Yeah.
But the covers were in color.
Yeah.
They just didn't know how to do the interior
The
pages.
interior, right. They didn't have the printing presses that were needed. And you got to remember, this was like a overnight reaction within a couple months. So to get the proper infrastructure in place is like a couple years.
Right.
So.
And how long did Canadian Whites were produced in Canada?
Up until 46 would be the end when the Americans started coming back in. And once you had Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman flooding back across the border, the kids just gave up on Rex Baxter, and unfortunately, right?
That's too bad. So, you know what, if you're looking in your grandparents' attic and you happen to find some comic books that have a black and white interior, you may definitely want to take those out of the box.
And give me a call.
And give Walter a call at Big B. All right, well, you know what, I'm going to pop by your store tonight in Niagara Falls, because you're having a nice little exhibition happening this evening, and hopefully we can talk a little bit more there.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Thanks,
Walter.
Pat. Thank you.